I'm going to invite everyone to join me in putting our palms together and reciting Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Namo Sadanto Suchetoye Alahati Sanmyao Sanputoche. This is the words for opening a sutra in Chinese. Wu shang shen shen wei miao fa, bai qian wan jie nan zao yi, wo jin qian wen de shou che, yan jie ru lai zhen shu yi. And now we're going to do it in English. Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in a billion eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. And let's recite the Medicine Master Buddha's name 7 times. Namo Quelling Disasters, Lengthening Life, Medicine Master Buddha. 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 And the final time. Namo Quelling Disasters, Lengthening Life, Medicine Master Buddha. Hello everyone, welcome to class number 7 of the Sutra of the Merit and Virtue of the Past Vows of Medicine Master Vaidurya Light Tathagata. That's why we, in short form, we call it Medicine Master Buddha Sutra. It's quite a mouthful. So today, let me pull up the notes for today. On-screen notes. Okay, there you go. So today's class number 7. If you're on this part of the world, California side is 5 p.m. California time, and it is the 16th of April. And if you're on the other side of the world where the sun comes out first, it's the 17th of April, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning in like Malaysia, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. So I thought we'll continue today with a quick summary of the PLM practice as outlined by Bodhidharma and by the 6 Precepts. So if you all look at the screen, I'm going to highlight Bodhidharma. So what Bodhidharma was trying to do was he was trying to bring it to the awareness of body and mind and preventing evil from arising in either. So whenever you have a thought of, when you have thoughts of evil, Bodhidharma wants you to be really be aware of what you're doing with your body, speech, and the thoughts in your mind. So to him, that's how he summarizes the PLM practice. So to him, mindfulness means to constantly call to mind the rules. What are the rules? Well, the 6 Precepts, as we go down the list, the 6 Precepts outlines what the rules are, like the precepts and 10 good deeds. And Bodhidharma says you follow it with all your might. That means you try your best. Shofu always says, try your best. We can't really be perfect, but we can try our best. Mistakes are allowed, yeah, because when we go to the part that talks about karma, I'll try to share my understanding about karma and why mistakes are okay, yeah. And then the third summary of Bodhidharma's sermon, I'm just going to highlight it so people know where we are, is that mindfulness is not the mouth chanting an empty name. So don't think that PLM practice is just the mouth chanting an empty name. It is the mind being aware and emptying the 3 poisons and any benefiting or selfish thoughts. I used to think, PLM practice was just reciting Amitabha's name as often as you can, or as much as you can. And I would be reciting while watching TV. This was when I was a layperson. Yeah, I obviously did not understand what PLM practice was. Okay, now going to the summary of the 6 Precepts lecture. So Sixth Precepts says it's not far from here. What does that mean? It means that the place where you practice, where you should be concentrating on, is right with you. So Sixth Precepts talks about the 10 evils. What are the 10 evils? Killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, slandering, harsh speech, idle talk and gossip, greed, hatred, and wrong views. See? So it says the 10 evils and the 8 wrongs. What are the 8 wrongs? The 8 wrongs are just the opposite of the Noble Eightfold Path. Noble Eightfold Path should be right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So it's all, where do you find all this? All inside, all in your next thought, your next speech, your next action. So Shakespeare says it's not far from here at all, the Pure Land, because how do you start to go to Pure Land? Within you yourself, that's where you start. So Shakespeare says the mind has to be pure. Okay, I'm going to do a bit of scrolling. Okay, it's got up. So Shakespeare says to an enlightened person, someone who knows what's going on, who's not confused, everywhere is the same. As everywhere they go, they're happy and at ease. The how do I say? Their land is flat and equal. There's no peaks or lows, meaning the mind doesn't go crazy happy, picks up, and then doesn't go into sadness or depression, doesn't fall and crash. However, when you are deluded, I'm not sure about all of you, but like myself, we tend to think that we require external conditions to feel happy and at ease. So Shakespeare is saying, no, it's how you feel happy and at ease is found within you. That's where you practice. So then he goes further. He equates the body to the Pure Land. So you seek it within your self nature, which is found inside you. Your focus moves inside, not outside. And then Sixth Precepts talks about the 4 Brahma Viharas: loving kindness, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity. And I have let me see if I can find I remember showing you the posters for the four Brahma Viharas. And I said that if anyone has any ideas about how to show sympathetic joy or empathetic joy, right there on the screen, empathetic joy. And someone found this. Okay, let me see. Move it on the screen. There you go. What's empathetic joy? Well, that's the opposite of jealousy and envy. So when you see someone who's happy, who has good things happen to them, like they win the lottery, they get a promotion, or they get praise, no matter what it is, something positive, you feel good for them. So their happiness becomes your happiness. If you do it well, you're probably more happy for them than they are for themselves. So that's called empathetic joy. I call it insurance, happiness insurance. No matter what happens, if you have empathetic joy, you're always happy. Okay. That is something on the WhatsApp group. Okay. All right, not important. Then the Sixth Precepts talks about gratitude, which is recognizing and repaying kindness. It speaks about parents, but it can be anyone who you recognize has been kind to you. He talks about righteousness, principle, being sympathetic to those above and below you, deference, respectful to all. And then finally, he talks about patience, which is what you do with your mouth, not gossiping, refraining from, juicy details that no one really needs. Yeah. And what I missed last week to add, because we ran out of time, was Bodhidharma's contextualizing what a monastery is. Because in the Sixth Precepts, what we covered in the last class, was he talked about where do you find a monastery. So he talked about the body. So this is what Bodhidharma had to say. He says, what you call a monastery, we call a sangharama, a place of purity. But whoever denies entry to the three poisons and keeps the gates of his senses pure, his body and mind still, inside and outside clean, builds a monastery. So what are the senses here? Senses means your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and finally your mind, your consciousness. Or to be more precise, the sixth consciousness. So he says you keep the gates of your senses pure. That means you're aware of all the sensory input that you're giving yourself and what you're doing, how you're engaging with all this sensory input. And he says when you do that, then you're in a monastery. So being a monk, living in a monastery, sometimes people come and it's very funny because you hear them before they ring the doorbell. They're already outside, and sometimes if I'm by the door, you can hear them talking really loudly. And the moment you open the door, their voices drop and they start to whisper, or they elbow each other to make each other, I'm not sure, act more polite or civilized, I don't know. But coming to the monastery immediately makes them be more mindful of themselves. They are more guarded. Yeah. So Bodhidharma says, if you can do that all the time, then you carry the monastery with you everywhere you go. Okay. So Aravind has asked a question. He says, Dharma Master, could you elaborate on what right view means? I'm not sure. I can't see from here when that chat was, 5:06. Oh, okay, so that was some time ago. So Aravind, I hope I have answered your question about what right view is. I'll come a bit to one of the wrong views later. So we have a WhatsApp group, and the WhatsApp group is a place where people can take the discussions, and they ask questions, they share their thoughts, and it's a thing where group wisdom happens. I believe right now we have maybe 71, 72 people. Every day we're adding people, and if all 70 people can contribute, then everyone learns from everyone else. Everyone shares. You share what you know. Shufu says, if you know one word of Dharma, you share that one word. So it's really nice having the WhatsApp group complementing the discussions that we have online, and seeing that happens. And actually today's notes that I'm going to share with everyone comes from those discussions or questions in the WhatsApp group. So Joanne is Joanne online. I have not introduced everyone who's joined us before. Maybe I'll do that today. So looking at the list, we have Amara from Malaysia, Arvind, we have Brennan, we have Chan Kwan Hong, we have Choi Chi, we have Clifford, Elizabeth Wong, Fei Shan Chong, we have Felicia, I know Felicia from Malaysia, Hilda, New Jersey, right, Hilda? Okay, we have a phone. We have Huawei Nova 2i. Okay, and then we have an iPhone. We have Jade, Jade Land, Jane from Saratoga, Jasmine, Jason, Jenny, Joanne. Yes, Joanne, I'm going to come to your question about 8 precepts after this. We have Karen, Tam, and her mom, their mom. We have Kathy, Casey, we have KS, we have Leong Wai Shin, we have Lin Bi Liu, Liz Wong from NYC. We have Lu Ling Hung. We have M. That's like the James Bond M. Yes, anyone want to share something? We have May, we have Melinda, we have someone from Guangzhou, Lei Ho. I'm trying to speak Cantonese. We have Nguyen, we have Oiwa, we have P, we have Ron, we have RUC, Saha, Siu Siu, Tam, Tammy, Tan Ji Ping, Tan, Chui, WM Lim, Yap HH, Yun Lai Chun, Karen Chi, and then we have 3 people whose names are in Chinese, which I don't know how to read. Sorry about that, but welcome. Hello everyone. I'm so glad everyone's here. Okay, so moving on. So Joanne had a question. Joanne's question was this. I'm going to highlight on the screen right now. It's a question about 8 precepts. And her question was about refrain from lying on a high or luxurious sleeping place. Okay. To be able to answer that, Joanne, I would like to maybe speak a bit about the 8 precepts and my journey or my experience with the 8 precepts. I hope it can be useful for people. So what are the 8 precepts? Well, the first 5 are very similar. Oh, no, don't do that. Control Z. Okay, let me do it another way. There you go. Okay, the first 5 are very, very similar to the 5 precepts for lay people, with one slight exception. Okay, what is the first one? You don't kill, you don't harm living beings. Second one is you don't steal, you don't take what is not given. The third one is sexual misconduct, and that's what's different from the normal 5 precepts. For 8 precepts, you refrain from all sexual activity. Whereas for the regular 5 precepts for lay people, you refrain from sexual misconduct. Okay. And then there's incorrect speech or lying, harsh speech, gossiping, idle speech, and derisive speech. And number 5 is intoxicants, because when you cannot concentrate, it's very easy to break the other 4 precepts. Okay, what does the 8 precepts add to this? All right. Let's see. Number 6, you refrain from eating afternoon. That means after your lunch, that's it. No more food. Okay, no more food. And then until the next day. Okay, and then number 7, you refrain from dancing, singing, music, going to see entertainment like Netflix. Netflix, going to the cinema, and then adorning yourself. Like so old language, they call it garlands, but anything like, makeup, perfume, beautifying yourself, trying to combing your hair like really nicely, trying to make yourself more attractive, things like that. And then 8, which brings us to Joanne's question, which is refrain from lying on a high or luxurious sleeping place or a bed. So I remember that when I first took my first experience with the 8 precepts, there were a lot of questions that people asked, and those questions have remained the same until now as a monk who sometimes transmits the 8 precepts. What are those questions? The questions are Fasha, or Dharma Master, what time can we eat the next day? And usually the answer is, well, you hold the 8 precepts for 24 hours. But there's also another way where when you come out from your house and through natural light, you can see the lines on the palm of your hand. That's when you can begin eating again. Okay, and then there'll be questions like, can we, Fasha, can I drink coffee after lunch, or can I drink soy milk? And then someone will say, oh, the rules say that because it's made from beans, you're not supposed to take any liquid that's made from beans. And that's true, that's accurate. Someone may say, Fasha, can I drink orange juice after lunch, like at night? And then some guy or some lady will say, oh, if there's pulp, then there's solid material, you should not, and you should drink pulp-free orange juice, so there's a lot of questions about the minutiae, about all the details of holding the precepts. So when do people usually hold the 8 precepts? Well, normally during a fahui, like if you go for a like the 10,000 Buddha repentance at CDTB, or a weekend Amitabha session at the Berkeley Monastery, you're given the opportunity to hold 8 precepts for the first day. Or if you want to, you can hold it for the whole time you are living in the monastery. That's one way of opportunity to hold the 8 precepts. The other opportunity arises when you actually, as a lay person, you move into the monastery. And you may have monastic aspirations, you're not quite sure, but when you're living full-time with the monks, you hold the 8 precepts. And the other time when you observe the 8 precepts, when you have taken the Bodhisattva precepts. And when you take the Bodhisattva precepts, I believe there's 6 or 8 vegetarian days. Oh, my memory fails me. Anyone can help me out in the chat box? So you hold the 8 vegetarian precepts during those days out of a month. Yes, Felicia?
6 days.
6 days. Yeah, so it's for 6 days out of a month, you hold the 8 vegetarian precepts if you have taken the Bodhisattva precepts. So what is the point of Bodhisattva precepts? I'm sorry, of the 8 precepts. Why do I ask this? Okay, Saha has a question. Can you please explain about your experience about practicing 1 meal a day as a lay person? How do we practice that? I won't answer your question directly, Saha, but I'll answer it through the 8 precepts because 8 precepts are more applicable for lay people. So the 8 precepts is designed to allow lay people to get a taste of monastic life. Okay, so that's why we usually transmit it in when people come and spend the night in the monastery, because it's a lot easier. In monasteries, we don't have dinner, so there's nowhere to go if you want food. You know, you have no choice. If you're at home, it's really hard. So for people who have taken the lay Bodhisattva precepts, to observe not having dinner, sometimes it's difficult because you still have to go out sometimes and meet friends or for business, and it's not normal lay people activities. Okay. So my experience with the 8 precepts would be, sometimes I don't stay in the monastery. I would go home as a lay person and I would do nothing. Because you can't watch TV, you can't listen to music, you even reading a book, I guess, is kind of like entertainment unless you read the sutras or you're studying. So what do? I kind of sleep. And I've checked around with a lot of lay people, and that's kind of what they do as well. So over time, as a monk, I revisited the 8 precepts and I was trying to figure out how is that helpful. And one of the things about having a monastic lifestyle it has to do with the ability to concentrate. And concentration, 2 words will come up: the dhyanas or the jhanas in Pali, and samadhi, concentration. So let me show you a picture of heavenly lifespans, because there's been on the WhatsApp chat talk about heavenly being reborn in the heavens. So if you look at your screen, okay, it's a bit small, I know. I'm going to increase the size later. So heavenly lifespans, all right. Where are us, humans? Okay, let me increase it. Okay, humans, 80 years, all right. The first heaven above us, the heaven of the 4 kings, your lifespan is 9 million years. All right, 9 million years. But if you look at under the number 9 million, you don't even see a line. Why? Because compared to the other heavens, 9 million years is nothing. All right, it's nothing. The next heaven up, the 33 Devas, heaven of the 33, commonly known, that's where the Jade Emperor, Chinese, we call him Ti Gong, Emperor of the Sky, Jade Emperor. That's 36 million years. You go there, your lifespan is 36 million years. And then the next heaven up, called Suyama heaven, is 146 million years. Then the next heaven up to Sita, now we're beginning to get somewhere. You actually see a line now. Is 500 million years, or close to 600 million years. Okay. And then you go up to transformation of bliss heaven. It's 2.3 billion years. Okay, that's 2,336 million years. And then in between that and the next heaven, which is the power over others transformations heaven, is the age of the earth, which scientists believe to be 4.5 billion years. So basically, if you are in the power of other transformations heaven, your lifespan is 9 billion years, and you can actually see the Earth coming into being, according to the scientists. Okay, but what's interesting is the next heaven up, which is called the first dhyana, or the multitudes of Brahma. The lifespan in this is, wait, let me see, there's 1 million. There's 320, wait, let me see, I've lost 9 billion. It's 320 billion years lifespan. And let me zoom out a bit. And you can see, this is to scale. Actually did it, I think in Excel or something, and measured it. I don't remember, it was so long ago, but this is to scale. So what makes the first dhyana heaven different from the rest of the heavens is the first dhyana heaven and upwards are the only heavens that you get to through concentration. All other heavens on the left, you get through blessings. You generate blessings through your six senses, through your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, and you do good deeds. That's how you get to those heavens. But no matter what good deeds you do, if you don't have proper concentration, you can't get to the first dhyana heaven and beyond. So if I'm not mistaken, the whole precepts of a monk's lifestyle is geared towards being able to enter and stay in concentration. Okay, so we have a chat box. The first heaven with 4 kings, is that the one closest to us? Yes, I believe so. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe so. Saha. Okay. So for a long time, I held the precepts, the 8 precepts, according to, how would I say, the form. I held the form. I didn't do this, I didn't do that. I made sure I didn't eat anything after lunch or drink anything which I thought, wouldn't be right. But I never understood the whole spirit of the 8 precepts, what the 8 precepts were meant to do. So the whole point of the 8 precepts is not really about holding the 8 precepts. It's about what you do when you hold the 8 precepts. So what does that mean? Okay, when you hold the 8 precepts, you are supposed to lead, the 8 precepts create the conditions that are conducive for your practice. That's all it does. So we go one by one, okay? You take all the precepts coming up to number 6 and 7, and even number 8, they all have to do with a particular sense. They all control your 6 senses, your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Because that's how you meditate. You meditate earlier, if you remember, 6 scripture call it the 6 gates. Those are the gates. So you want to be paying attention to all your sensory input. So when you take the 8 precepts, it's about creating a nice, quiet environment. You push away all distracting things like entertainment, you're not watching TV, you're not listening to your favorite music, you're not having that tune stuck in your head, you're not having a full stomach. In fact, you don't really eat a lot of lunch too. People who meditate, you naturally eat less. Why? Because a heavy stomach interferes with your ability to meditate. And then you sit there and then you do your practice. Either you recite the Buddha's name, or you count your breaths, or you bow. You do bowing. So Joanne's question about number 8, refrain from lying on a high or luxurious sleeping place or bed. Well, if you want to go into the legal side of the precepts, into all the rules, it says that a bed not higher than 20 inches. And when it comes to the size, there's not really any regulations about the size, but more on the coverings, or if you have luxurious wool or animal fur, the precepts go into that in some detail. Yeah. And I used to get lost in all that. But that's not the point. The point is about comfort. So when you're sitting there and you are reciting the Buddha's name, you're counting your breathing, you are reciting your mantra, after a while, you're going to feel a bit uncomfortable. Why? Because that's the nature of the body. It starts to feel uncomfortable. We move, we shift, we fidget. Just look at yourself. How long can you sit still before automatically you move? I've been moving in my chair for a while right now. You can see me. But the moment I feel a hint of discomfort, I shift. My hands are moving. I've been stretching my neck as I'm talking to all of you. Things like that seeking for comfort or that running away from discomfort takes you away from concentration. Or when you want to sit, the bed calls out, oh, maybe I should take a nap. Or maybe I should just rest. I just feel like not doing anything. I just want to lie down. So that's the whole point of the number 8. It tells you to, okay, remember why you're holding the 8 precepts. It's because you want to end suffering. And because you don't hold the 8 precepts all the time, this is a very precious opportunity for you to see how deep you can go in your concentration. How often do you get to do that? How often do you give yourself time and minimize distractions just to see how deep your mind can go? Hardly. So number 8 tells you, okay, when you're going to do this, just put aside comfort for a while and see what happens. So that's the spirit of the 8 precepts. It's not about holding the precepts in a rigid way, but it's about understanding what the precepts are meant to do. I hope people get that. It's a bit like the 5 precepts we talked about 2 days ago. I used to hold the 5 precepts in a very rigid way. But when I understood that, oh no, actually the 5 precepts bring out the best in you as a human being. And when you see it in the context of relationships and the people that you care for, the 5 precepts become something that is natural. People get married, you should take the 5 precepts. You have children, you should renew your 5 precepts. Why? Because that's just, I mean, you don't even have to explain why, it just makes sense. Yeah. So I just want to share that with, thanks Joanne for asking that question. It allowed me to share it. So I'm looking at the chat box now. I heard the 8 precepts helps you with the 8 sufferings. Yes, Joanne.
Something. The reason I asked is because I know that in the Theravada monks sleep on very low mats on the floor. And I was wondering if that is what is called for here.
Oh, probably, yeah. It's just, I guess it's simple. If you understand the whole point and not giving into comfort when it's time to practice, then I guess the bed doesn't really matter as well. Yeah. So the precepts like a guide, like guidelines to help you, be aware of where you're putting your attention to. And comfort is a huge thing. Everyone seeks after comfort. So that Melinda asked, refrain from entertainment, does it include listening to news? So now, Melinda, that you understand the spirit of the 8 precepts, you can ask yourself that question. So when you're supposed to be practicing, is the news helpful? Right? When you're supposed to be looking or uncovering your potential for concentration, what would you do? So I like to end the 8 precepts with, say, someone who's not even a Buddhist and who has not, maybe heard of the 8 precepts, but someone who really likes to meditate and understands what it takes to meditate well. I'm pretty sure this person would, over time, learn, because they're always mindful of themselves, learn how to regulate their body, speech, and mind. They would understand that meditating on a full stomach, no, it makes you drowsy. It makes you lose awareness. They understand that having the mind excited by the latest shows or a very catchy tune doesn't help concentration at all. And when they put their mind to it, they train themselves to get through discomfort. Yeah. So yeah, I would urge everyone to look at their relationship with the precepts, 5 precepts, 8 precepts, or the Bodhisattva precepts. Or the Bodhisattva precepts are so there's so much to talk about in the Bodhisattva precepts, because once you understand why they are there, it really I'm a loss for words. It gives you an insight into your own shortcomings, but into your potential as well. And yeah, and you see, oh, I can be like that. I have the potential to be that. But right now you see yourself as being limited. But it also gives you an idea about where you begin in your practice. Yeah, and yeah, okay. So let me move on. I'll be stuck here the whole time. Okay, the 8 vegetarian precepts are also called the 8 fasting precepts, and this is what I found what Bodhidharma had to say. He says, I'm going to start here on the top. He says, the same holds true for observing a fast. It's useless unless you understand what this really means. To fast means to regulate your body and mind so that they are not distracted or disturbed. And to observe means to uphold the rules of discipline according to the Dharma. Fasting means so it's easier for everyone to follow. Fasting means guarding against the 6 attractions on the outside and the 3 poisons on the inside, and striving through contemplation to purify your body and mind. Okay, what are 6 attractions? Okay, this is connected to your 6 senses. What do your eyes see? Forms. What do your ears hear? Sound. What do your nose smells? Smells. Okay. So that's the 6 attractions. Okay, and thoughts. Finally, there's thoughts. Your mind can generate thoughts, but it not only does it take input from your 5 senses and processes it, but I can make you generate thoughts that are not real, like thinking of a pink elephant, you know, or a tall tree, and you can make it up. Okay. So it says, what are fasting? And he equates that to food because everyone likes food, right? So he says, number 1, first, there's delight in the Dharma. This is the delight that comes from acting in accordance with the Dharma. Okay, so he's talking about food right now, but not in the way as we know it. So second is harmony in meditation. This is the harmony of body and mind that comes from seeing through subject and object. Okay, that's pretty deep. Third is invocation, pure and practice. The invocation of Buddhas with both your mouth and your mind. Fourth is resolution. The resolution to pursue virtue, whether walking, standing, sitting, or lying down. And the final one is liberation, the liberation of your mind from worldly contamination. So he's talking about fasting, 8 precepts. Oh, okay. Says these 5 are the foods of fasting. Unless a person eats these 5 pure foods, he's wrong to think he's fasting. What I used to do, not eat after lunch and feel really proud of myself. No, Bodhidharma would say, no, that's not it. Okay. Says, also, once you stop eating the food of delusion, if you touch it again, you break your fast. And once you break it, you reap no blessing from it. The world is full of deluded people who don't see this. They indulge their body and mind in all manner of evil. They give free rein to their passions and have no shame. And when they stop eating ordinary food, they call it fasting. How absurd. Now that you know, yes. But before, like myself, I used to be really proud of holding the 8 precepts like really strictly. Nope. Yeah. Okay, we are running out of time. 45 minutes is really quick. Just at, you know, you as a speaker, you hit your stride, you have to stop. What I was going to do if I had more time, and we'll do this in the next class, is follow up on a discussion that we've been having on WhatsApp, which is a discussion regarding blessings and heavenly rebirth. And for that, I was going to talk about the 4 types of karma. And then I was going to go into a question. All these are related, by the way. It says, Fashil, what are the wrong views associated with Buddhist rites, ceremonies, repentance, bowing? Basically, this is our relationship with ceremonies and with practices. And this is really, really important because this has to do with one of the wrong views, dristi in Sanskrit, which is wrong view number 5, sila, sila vrata paramasa. Okay, and that's really, really important because you don't want to be doing your practice wrong. I rely on my practice, but so I don't want to be doing it wrong at all. And then we have something called the 4 great references, which honestly I should have opened with today, but I'll open the next class with the 4 great references. Okay, chat box, refrain. May I know what is the impact of Dharma root farm impact on people who do not hold any precept? Is this an added to enlightenment process? May I know what is the impact of Dharma root farm? I'm not sure I understand what Dharma root farm is. Is it Buddha root farm? Yeah, Dharma root farm. Yeah, I maybe you can clarify, Ms. Yap. Thank you. Any more questions? Anyone online? Any feedback?
Teacher JinHe, I'm referring to Buddha root farm. I made a typo error. Thanks.
Okay, Buddha root farm. So what is the impact of Buddha root farm on people who do not hold any precepts? Well, everyone's on, think of the path. Path is a road, right? So everyone's on a road, you know, everyone's at a different stage of their travels. Yeah. So people who come to Buddha farm, like your question, some people haven't taken the precepts, some people have taken the precepts. Like myself, I took the precepts. I never knew what the precepts meant, at least in spirit anyway. I was just holding the precepts like really in a rigid way. So everyone's learning and everyone's progressing. So Buddha farm would have different impacts on everyone depending on their potentials, I guess. Yeah. Tushita heaven inside the 33? No. There are 2 separate heavens. Yeah. Okay, PowerPoint. Let's dedicate merit from today. There's been a request to dedicate it to victims of the coronavirus. And what is dedication of merit? Dedication of merit is like loving kindness. It's a wish that you send. And in your heart, you wish that either a particular person or a community or a group of a country or the entire world, you have this wish that whatever goodness that you have, you want to share with them too. And you want them to be happy and free of suffering. Okay. So I'm going to put my palms together. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, This world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Amitabha and goodbye.